721 here, Big 550 KTRS. Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, is announcing today that he is seeking the Oval Office, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's a long way to go. To break it down for us, Steve Roberts, ABC News political analyst. Good morning, Steve.
Hi, McGraw.
Is this too early, or is this about right for presidential candidates?
Well, I think it's for Ted Cruz, it's never too early. This is a guy been running for president since the day he came to Washington after winning his Senate seat in 2012. I think he was concerned about several things. One was that Jeb Bush has been moving aggressively to scoop up a lot of political contributors. And Scott Walker, the young Republican governor of Wisconsin, has been moving aggressively to make friends among the most conservative Republican primary voters. So I think Cruz felt that he needed to get into this race and get back some attention. And we are talking about him this morning, so he's accomplished at least his first goal.
Yeah, the Tea Party wing of the Republican Party is going to be awfully crowded if we are to believe the rumors of the people who are getting in. You mentioned Scott Walker, Ted Cruz. They're going to beat each other up, and then allow Jeb Bush, the establishment candidate, to sort of win it when it's all said and done.
Well, that could well happen. And, of course, it's happened before. It happened in 2012 when a lot of conservatives, whether they're Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, Rick Perry, knocked each other off, and Mitt Romney emerged. But the nightmare for a lot of Republicans, more pragmatic Republicans, the ones who actually want to win elections as opposed to making speeches, their concern about Cruz reflects what happened in 2012, that Romney was pulled to the right in those debates, in those primary contests. This was a guy who renounced his own health care plan that he had helped pass as governor of Massachusetts. He talked about being severely conservative. He talked about immigrants self-deporting. Well, people were thrilled when he said those things in the Republican debates, but in a swing state like Missouri, when you try to run in a general election, carrying that bag, it's much more difficult. And that's why the New York Times this morning said that to many establishment Republicans, Cruz is a four-letter word.
In terms of support, you mentioned Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush and him aren't necessarily going after the same people, are they?
Well, some of the same contributors, perhaps. Obviously not the same voters. And you're certainly right that the conservative side is very crowded, and particularly given Mitt Romney's decision not to run again. Jeb Bush's only real competition in what's sometimes described as the more establishment or pragmatic lane of the Republican Party, probably Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey, who has not been off to a very good start. The dynamic in the Republican Party is very interesting. If you look at the early primary states, McGraw, the places that have a big influence, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, the electorate there is very conservative. Now, that doesn't mean that whoever wins Iowa is going to win the nomination. The last two people to win the Iowa primaries were former Governor Mike Huckabee of Arkansas, former Senator Rick Santorum of Pennsylvania. Neither one of them came close to winning the nomination. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you win the Iowa caucuses, you're on the way to the nomination. But as I say, the real fear among Republicans is the dynamic of what happens. And Cruz is very, very outspoken against legalized immigration, very outspoken against same-sex marriage. He's going to be today at Liberty University in Virginia, a college founded by the late Jerry Falwell, a very conservative Christian minister. And Cruz is trying to broaden his base to include not just the Tea Party economic conservatives, but also the evangelical Christians who care about social issues like same-sex marriage. And he's going to have a lot of support on the right. But whether that translates into an effective and appealing mainstream candidacy, I don't know anybody in Washington who thinks Ted Cruz is going to be the next president.
How much is Ted Cruz going to go after Jeb Bush by trying to hang George W. Bush on him?
That's an excellent point, McGraw, and the answer is going to go after him very heavily. And he's not just going to go after him on that score. One of Ted Cruz's favorite lines is that the Republican Party has made mistakes when they've nominated a John McCain or a Mitt Romney or a Bob Dole, anybody who commits the moderate heresy, the pragmatic heresy. And he's going to try to link Jeb Bush very much to that kind of Republican, the more pragmatic or more mainstream Republican. The other way he's going to hammer Jeb Bush, McGraw, is on age. He's going to talk a lot about being a new generation. Ted Cruz, 44 years old. 18 years younger than Jeb Bush. And of course, Jeb Bush seems a lot older than 62 since he's been around a long time. And you're going to hear a lot today and down the road from Ted Cruz about a new generation of leadership, a line we've heard many times in American politics.
Yeah.
Jack Kennedy used it. Bill Clinton used it. Ted Cruz is going to use it.
Yeah. And lastly, just so that we're all sure what of the facts here, Ted Cruz is born in Canada. Is that correct?
You know, I'm not exactly sure. Of course, I do know that his parents were immigrants from Cuba,
right.
And we're going to hear a lot about his Hispanic heritage. But you know what? I think you're raising the possibility that perhaps by American law he's not qualified to be president.
No. I'm making a joke because so many people question whether or not President Obama was born in America, and he was. But Ted Cruz, from his own admission, was born in Canada. He's a naturalized citizen, or because his mother was an American, he's an American citizen. I'm not questioning it. But for all the people who are questioning President Obama, I wonder if they're going to question Ted Cruz.
Well, you know, one of the interesting points is whether Cruz can effectively reduce the Republican deficit with Latino voters. If you remember back in 2012, it was critical that Obama got 71% of the Hispanic vote. That's only going to become more and more important. One of the reasons why a lot of Republicans like Jeb Bush as a candidate is because he's married to a Mexican woman. He speaks fluent Spanish. He was very effective at appealing to Latino voters as governor of Florida. It's one of the key assets that he has because Romney was terrible
right.
in his ability to appeal to Latino voters. I think one of the things you're going to see more and more from Ted Cruz is stressing his Latino heritage, particularly in key primary states like Colorado.
Interesting. All right, Stephen Roberts, great job as always. Good to hear your voice.
Sure.
7:28 here, Big 550 KTRS.
Hi, this is Jeff